Okay. Today's session, as I told you, is session 4. It means that today's class is about which products should I import. Okay. This is part of Unit 1, that it is Introduction to Imports. I'm your teacher, Liliana Quipuzco. So, let's start. First of all, we're going to see as always the first considerations. So, the first considerations for today, give me a second. Okay, so the first considerations are the following. You must speak English during the entire conference. That's the first one. Then, second one is you can ask questions during the course of the conference. You can just click below on the chat and you can ask the questions that you have. Then, give me one second. Okay, perfect. Then I would appreciate you sharing anecdotes, experiences, or maybe any kind of comments related to the subject that you are having around now in order to help you. And finally, at the end of each session, we will have an exam with multiple choice questions. In this exam, you will find you will be able to find 5 questions for today's course, for today's session, and also we are going to find a survey, some questions for you to let us know how the session was. Okay, so let's go back and we say that today's session is which roles should I import? So first of all, my product. We are going to see about our product, the product that I'm going to buy in order to sell, that I'm going to buy from another country, could be maybe China, could be Australia, could be the United States, in order to import it and sell it here. So the main word or the most important word from this for my product is import because we're going to do that. We're going to import, right? So what is import? According to Sunat, to import is to bring goods to the national territory. Remember that the national territory is Peru. So to bring goods to the national territory to Peru of the foreigner from another country. China could be Australia, could be the United States in a legal way. So this is a very important word. If we are importing, if we are bringing products from another country in an illegal way, that is not to import. To be an import, it means that we have to bring goods in a legal way. So this is a very important word to know in order to use them for ourselves or to commercialize them. In this case, we're talking about setting a company, doing some business, so we will use the second part, that is to commercialize them. Or maybe it could be to use them in case, for example, we are importing products, not to sell them, but to use them in order to fabricate another product or maybe to use it in our own importing company. Okay? Then, why import is important, right? What's the importance of imports? In this case, imports are important because they supply the national market. In this case, for example, let's say that I want a special keychain of a special, maybe let's say design that that none of the local producers are able to manufacture. So I will have to go to a foreigner, to a foreign supplier in order to buy it. So the importance of input is that it will supply to me a product to the national market that maybe I'm not able to find it here in Peru. Then it is also important because it strengthens the internationalization and the economy of the country. It's going to make our country more stronger because we're going to be buying from another country to buy better products. But remember that this is very linked to exports because we have a balance. We have to. It is. it's not good to buy more than we sell. So we have to sell more than we buy. So we have to produce more. In this case, some people say that it is not good to import clothes, but that's wrong. It is very important to import because of it we can create some competition in here in the market, in Korean market. So we will be able to make our local producers become better and we start manufacturing products to export. Okay, so we can just not only bring money from another country, but we can also we are not only be able to receive money in this case from the export, but also pay money in other currencies. And a final importance that I can give you is that imports encourage local producers to to improve their quality, to improve their prices, and improve the modernity. In this case, if I am a local producer of keychains and I am seeing that another person, an importer, is bringing keychains from China, what what should I do? It is obviously that me as a local producer, I will want that that sale, right? So in this case, I would look for the way of improve my process, my manufacturing process, to improve the quality, to improve my prices, to in this case to lower my prices, and to buy more machines for more technology in order to be able to fabricate to be able to be able to manufacture this product that this person is buying from the outside. Okay, so that is important because it's going to encourage our local producer to improve themselves. And finally, the objective of imports is to have products that we are not able to find them here in Peru because there's not enough technology, maybe we don't have the supplies, we don't have the materials, or maybe because we don't know how to make them. Okay, now we're going to see the benefits versus the risk of the import. In this case, one of the benefits of importing is that we will have a variety of products. We will not only, for example, find our local, let's say, our local sodas, like only, let's say, the ones that are made in here, for example, let's say Cola Real, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, right? But imports will allow us to have more variety. So in this case, we will be able to find not only that, but to find another kind of beverages, right? For example, we will be able to find melon soda that is from Japan, or maybe Sakura, the kind of Sakura Coca-Cola soda that is from Japan also. Or maybe you have seen these aloe vera drinks. That is a very good example because because of the imports we had the benefit of having this variety of aloe vera, and because of that, our local producers improved themselves, and now we also have local aloe vera drinks. You see how it works? Okay, so now another benefit is to get competitive prices. For example, the same, we will be able to find some Japanese or Korean aloe vera drinks for 4 soles, 3 soles, but also we'll be able to find competitive prices in here from local products, from aloe vera to, I think it is like 250 to 50, to 50 2 soles 50 cents also, but not only that, because if we are already having good local prices, maybe there is going to be in the future another import company that is going to import these aloe vera products to a lower price. So lower prices and more variety means that we will have more options and we will not have to spend that much. And finally, a final benefit that I can give you is diversity of qualities. Maybe we can see this with clothes. We will be able to find on the local market not only Peruvian clothes, Peruvian manufactured clothes from Gamarra, for example, but we were able to find clothes made in Japan, or in this case, made in China, especially. We will have for the qualities that we need. Maybe we want Pima cotton, a really high quality product that we'll be able to find it and to buy it in Gamarra or from a local producer. But if we are not looking for that high of a quality product, but we are looking for a low to medium quality, maybe we can go and buy Chinese clothes. But we can also buy them on, I think we can also find them in Gamarra and we can also find them on Grau Avenue, imported clothes. So that is good because we are going to have a variety of qualities to choose from. On the other hand, all the good things have bad things also. So in this case, oh, give me one second. Okay, we're going to see about the risks. In this case, the risks of having of doing imports is that we will be harming local producers. It could be a risk because I don't know if you remember maybe like a couple of years ago that there was a problem between Gamarra manufacturers versus Chinese manufacturers. I don't know if you remember that. Maybe you can remember a little about the news. In this case, the problem was that local producers from Gamarra were saying that because of Chinese imports, we weren't able to um, because of Chinese imports, they weren't able to sell to a regular price because the competition was too low. So they were selling a t-shirt for 10 soles or 20 soles, and the Chinese t-shirts were for less than 5 soles. So you can see here some harming to the local producers because some people will want to get a cheaper price, so they will only buy from importers or imported products and not from local producers that have a better quality. So there's a risk. Also, another risk is that we will depend on foreigners. For example, if we are if we are buying, in this case, I saw a case of plastic products. We were buying for we were buying plastic material, raw material that is like some pellets, some little, let's say like some little pieces of plastic in order to make complete products of plastic. I don't know if I made myself. Maybe you can check later on the internet so you can have a better look for it on Google Images. Plastic pellets, pellets. So in this case, we were buying plastic pellets from the outside, from abroad, because in here in Peru we don't have this product. We don't have the technology to make this product. So what was the problem? That we depended on foreigners because when there was little let's say little amount of products, little amount of um, offer of the products on the abroad, we were like so stressed because we needed the product to make more plastic products, but we couldn't find it anywhere. So we depend on the suppliers and we had to pay so much higher prices in order to get them. So it is a risk to depend on them if we don't have another countries to buy from or maybe local producers to buy from. Then we also have the risk to be prone to a scam. For example, there's a lot of people that say to me, a lot of your classmates, a lot of maybe people you know that say that they don't buy from the internet, for example, because they are scared that Chinese suppliers are going to scam them, that they are going to take their money and run. So you will pay for a product, and you won't be able you will be paying for a product and not getting the product, because they will just block you and you won't be able to give me 1 second. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, in this case, um, you will be paying for a product, and after this, you won't be able to get your product back. You will be paying money and you won't be getting a product. So it is true. There's some risk of getting scammed when you're doing imports, especially if you are buying via the internet. But to avoid these potential scammers, you have to know how to buy from web pages. In this case, how to buy from Amazon, AliExpress, Alibaba, which information to give the person, and also how to find a good supplier. So there's a risk of a scam, but if you know how to avoid this, you will be successful in not getting scammed. Now we're going to see about my product. So in this case, in order to choose which product will I want to will I want to import, which product I'm going to import, I have to check maybe what kind of product do I want. Do I want to sell a product that it is perishable, that it means that it's going to maybe get rot or get bad, in a bad condition in little time, or maybe I'm importing general cargo products, or maybe I'm importing live animals, could be, or maybe I'm importing fragile cargo, or maybe I'm importing dangerous goods. I have to be careful with that. Depending on the type of product, it means that it's going to be easier or harder for me. Another point to choose a product to import is to know if I would need an emergency shipment. For example, if I'm going to bring perishable products that are going to get rot or are going to get in a bad shape in little time, I will have to do use emergency shipments so I can get my products here in Peru faster, right? On the other hand, if I'm bringing general cargo or freighter cargo, I could just import them by air or by sea or by road without any kind of problem. Remember that also emergency shipments could be if you're importing live animals. Then I have dangerous goods. In this case, I have to see if my product is dangerous. And why? Because if it is dangerous, maybe I will have some restrictions for the transport. Okay? So I have to check if I'm importing chemicals, maybe some products that could be corrosive, or maybe some products that are like, for example, let's say gasoline in this case, petroleum. I have to be careful because those kind of products tend to be dangerous. So I have to check. How do I check? I just I can ask to my supplier for the MSDS or the SDS, that it is the material or the safety data sheet. Also remember that these dangerous goods are also related to restricted and prohibited products. I have to check if my products are restricted. In this case, will I need some kind of permission from, let's say, some ministry or from another entity from the government, or if it is completely prohibited. Maybe I want to import some medicine, or maybe some, let's say, chemicals that are completely prohibited, that I'm not allowed. So I have to check this before choosing my product. Then I have to check the rates. Not only in this case the rates for importing the product, but also the prices. If I know that I already have in here in Peru, let's say a keychain that people usually buy for 5 soles, I'm not going to buy, let's say, a keychain that I will have to sell to 100 soles, because not that many people is going to buy it from me, especially if it is a regular keychain, maybe a keychain that is really similar to another one that is already locally sold. Okay, so I have to check the prices too. Then I have to check the packing and packaging. In this case, if I am talking about some freight cargo that is very fragile, or maybe some perishable, or cargo that needs a special, um, let's say, has to we have to be really careful. I have to check for packing and packaging. These special details I can talk to my supplier directly. Then I can talk about specifications for cargo handling. In this case, I will be talking also to my supplier to know if I will need a special cargo handling, so I can talk to my logistical service provider to have the better handling for it. Finally, before choosing my product, I have to check the means of transport available. For example, let's say if I am importing from China, I won't be able to import via road, right? Because from China to here by car, there's no way. It will have to be by sea or by air. On the other hand, not only that, but also see the availability of the means of transport that my supplier can bring, that can give me. For example, I know now that I can bring my keychains from China via air or via sea. But what happens if my supplier only works with sea shipments? He doesn't work with air shipments. But I'm looking at my products and um, estimating that I'm only gonna buy, let's say, 100 keychains. That is going to be a small package. So bringing that kind of little cargo via sea is going to be really expensive. It will be cheaper to import it via air. So what happens if my supplier cannot send the products via air? I will have to see if the product is good enough to pay more in order to send it by sea and wait long time for it, or maybe to ask him or her, to ask my supplier, to check for the option of sending it via air, or maybe on the last resort to look for another supplier. These points that I have talked to you are the special details that I have to really look into it before, or in this case, I have to look into it for choosing my product. Okay? And now we're going to see some tools. In this case, I'm going to share to you my webpage so we can check how to check for some products. So give me 1 second. We're going to see we're going to see trade map, and we're going to see the Observatory of Economic Complexity. The first one, it is a really it is, these both web pages are free to use. Remember, if you're able to use a paid one, it would be great. Maybe we have on the market like Center Transaction, Value Trade, and also Added Data Trade. That those are really good. But if we are not able to, we wouldn't have the access to these web pages, that's okay because we have the option of trade map and the Observatory of Economic Complexity that are for free, that are available for free. In here, you will find the direct link, but also I'm going to show you how to find it on, okay, how to find it on Google, okay? So you're going to search for trademark in here. Oh, give me 1 second. I'm going oh, okay. So we're going to put trademark on Google search, and we will have this. The first one is the web page that we want. So we're going to click. Okay, after this, we're going to have this web page. And in here, since this course is in English, we're going to change it to English. But you can see here, you can find it on French and also on Spanish. So now we are looking for imports, right? So we're going to check imports. In this case, in this line, we're going to check for the products, or maybe we're going to choose in here, we can put the name of the product in order to find the HS code. If you already have the HS code, you can just put directly that HS code. Maybe you can put the chapter, or maybe you can put a more specific detail, a more specific HS code. I'm sorry. So if you don't know what it is an HS code, you can find it. You can find previous classes on your virtual classroom when you will have a more extensive explanation of what it is. So in here, we're going to check for live animals. We can check for imports all over the world, or we can check from Peruvian imports. So in this case, let's say we're going to check for Peruvian imports of live animals. So we just check Peru live animals, and we can check. We can click on trade indicators to have the information, but also we have the option of having it here and put a partner. So maybe if I want to see imports live animals, Peruvian imports of live animals from Afghanistan. I can check here of Afghanistan. But if I don't want, I just leave it in blank and put on and make and click on trade indicators. Okay. So after I did these steps, I'm going to see here the list of the supplying markets for the product, in this case, live animals imported by Peru. So Peruvian imports of live animals. So I can see here that we imported the most quantity of live animals in 2017 from Brazil. We can see here that there's a good share in the world. We imported 100%, right? This amount of $1,000, but from Brazil it was approximately the 65% of imports were from Brazil. So it is really huge. You can see, right? Then we can also see another countries. We have also United States of America, we have Argentina, we have Chile, and we have Spain. Because of this web page, because this web page is for free, we are not, I'm sorry, because this web page is for free, we won't be able to have a more specific detail of the product. We can only see it by our HH scope. If you are able to find a paid web page, like I told you, like Adex Data Trade, like Berry Trade, or maybe Penta Transaction, you will be able not only to find this amount of information, but also you will find which was the company who exported from Brazil the animals and the specific product that they exported, that Brazil exported to Peru. Okay, but because this is a free web page, we don't have that option. It's a shame, but let's remember that this is for free, so it is not as specific and it is not that updated, but it is an option that we have at least to check at it. Like this, you can check another HS codes with many other products. You can see there aluminium, copper, ceramic products, glassware. So every kind of product in the world is inside has an HS code. So you will be able to find it here. And also you can not only find from Peru, but also you can find from the world. For example, I can check in the world and now I can know that, okay, here, that the United States of America was the most important exporter of products. Okay, so this was our first web page. Now, second web page is the Observatory of Economic Complexity. So we're going to put the observatory. We're going to check for it from scratch, okay? The Observatory of Economic. You can see it already there, but I'm going to write it in here so you can check it with complexity. Okay, perfect. So we're going to search it on the web. Okay, okay, here we are. So this is the Wikipedia webpage. That is not what we are looking for, but we are looking for it here. So the webpage is atlas.media.mit.edu. So we're going to check it and we're going to wait for it to load. Let me tell you that this webpage has a lot of interactive details, so sometimes it could take a little bit. You can see here that this is the main page and it already has like some interactive um, details that this part is moving and we have these graphics. So that's why sometimes it takes a little longer. In here, you can check clicking here and look for the product. In this case, not the, you can check for the product, but you can also check for the country. You can click here, here. So we're going to check for products in this case. We're going to click on products and we can wait until it loads. So it's letting us know labels. So you can put in here and see each product that it would be an option, but it's going to take you a lot of time because as you can see, it is like they have a lot of, I'm sorry, they have a lot of interaction. So if you already know which product you're going to import or which product you are interested in, maybe you can put it in here. Let's say we're going to put leather. As you can see here, it's taking a little time. It usually takes a little to 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 load because okay, so here leather footwear, shoes in this case. So I can click in the leather footwear. Let's say that I want to import leather footwear. So I'm going to have in here that the top importer, I mean in this case the main buyer is the USA and the top exporter, so the main seller is China. So if I'm going to import leather footwear to Peru, that I should be contacting China because it is the top exporter. Okay, so we're going to check here that we have some information about um, footwear, in this case leather footwear, and we're going to have here exporters and importers. Let's say if I'm going to sell leather footwear, let's say I'm going to buy in order to sell, I'm going to buy from another country in order to sell not only in Peru but to sell to another country, I should be looking here because it means that Germany is going to be a good customer for me. So Germany could be a buyer of my products. But in this case, having an example of me as an importer buying from another country in order to sell it here in Peru, I should only check, in this case, the exporters. So I will see here that the main exporter of leather footwear is China. So China sells to the world the 25% of leather footwear. That's a really, really big piece of the market. Then I have Vietnam, then I have the India, then I have Indonesia, I have Cambodia, Bangladesh, Thailand, Hong Kong, Turkey. On the other hand, I also have for Europe, it means that the most important exporter from Europe is Italy. Then I have Germany, then I have Portugal, I have Spain, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and then I can see here North America. Mexico is a big one. I have in here Oceania, that it is Tunisia, and I have South America, that the most important is Brazil. I have Colombia, Peru, let's say Chile, Brazil, and Paraguay. So these are the top exporters. So if I'm going to be buying from if I'm going to be buying from another country in order to sell here in Peru, I should go to China, Vietnam, and Italy. right? Because these are the most important. In this case, we already know that China usually sells products that are let me check. Okay, usually sells products that are like they tend to be cheap. So if I'm looking for economic products, I should be checking for most of the Asian countries. On the other hand, if I'm looking for high quality products, I should be checking maybe for Italy because Italy is known for good quality products. In this case, good quality footwear. Okay, so that's good. That will be an example of how to choose a product. In this case, how to choose a product and choosing the country that I will be buying from. Okay. Okay, so now let's go back to our class. Okay, so finally, these are the references. I only use main web pages that I showed you, and also the Sunat web page for getting the information. Remember that today we saw our product, we saw imports and the importance of imports. We also saw the benefit and the risk of imports. This is a very important part that I would like you to check again. Remember that these are not the only ones. There are more benefits and more risks, but these are the most important ones that I can give you as an example. We check the details that I have to take in count in order to choose my product, in order to buy from another country. Then we saw the tools. Remember the trade map and the Observatory of Economic Complexity are free web pages. So it means that you won't be able to find like updated information. We saw that not only trade map but also the economic of the Observatory of Economic Complexity have information from in this case has information from the year 2017 that is a little outdated because now we are in 2019. But if you are able to get the access to a more to a better tool of search, in this case will be like a paid web page, let's say like Adex Data Trade, Pen Transaction, and Value Trade, it would be great because you won't only find the country, but you will also find the specific product and also the specific supplier and quantities and more details about import, um, the import case or the import that happened in that time that we choose, right? So that would be better. Remember that if you have your company, you will be able to ask for a free trial on Alex Data Trade, and you also will be able to ask for a free trial on Berry Trade. Actually, for Printer transaction, I haven't checked that if there's a free trial. I think they give you also a free trial. It would be a matter of you writing them an email, but I have used them all, and the three of them are very good web pages. They have a lot of detail. They are really updated. They tend to have information. They already have the information from um, the complete 2018, and now that we are just entering February, they should be having already information from January 2019. So it is really really updated, so it will be really really good if you have access to it. So remember that if you have a company or you are setting an import business, you are able to write to them, to send them a message, and to ask for a free trial, and then use it, and then check if you will want to buy the complete option of having the whole product, right? Um, I wouldn't like to talk about prices because the prices are going to depend of which um, are going to depend of how much you want to use the product, the countries that you want to see from. So that would be better if you contact them directly so they can give you more specific details. But remember that there's always the option of free trial. So don't be shy and talk to them, write an email or write them a message on their webpage. It would be good. So finally, I leave you the references. I already told you that. And finally, I want to thank you for your attention. I'm going to leave you here the link for the exam. Remember to check again also to check the material. You will find on your virtual classroom the material and the video. You will be able to check it there. Just see again the video before you take the exam, so you can have you can remember all the information that we already talked about. Um, I think it would be all. Remember that if you want to check previous classes, you can check them in your virtual classroom, and not only for intermediate level, but also from basic level and also advanced level. So it will be great if you can check for more information there. Finally, I want to thank you again for your attention. Remember that today we saw session 4, that is which pros should I import, and your teacher Liliana Quipuzco. I want to hope that you have a great weekend, and I hope to see you next week. Okay? Take care. Thank you for being here. Bye bye.